views expressed on this program are those of the producers and individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Sun Prairie Media Center staff, its video service providers, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
Hello everyone, welcome into Marc Madness Sports on this Friday afternoon, late afternoon, April 5th, 2024. I'm Mark Carstens, the host of Marc Madness Sports, joined today by new Sun Prairie West baseball coach Aaron Buss, and then Sun Prairie West baseball players Ben Ketelson and also Casey Wambach. I guess first off, how are all of you guys today, Friday, and excited to have you guys live here in the studio at the Sun Prairie Media Center TV studio.
Well, I'd rather be playing. All right, we were scheduled with DC Everest today, but I guess this isn't a bad second.
Mother Nature didn't quite make it possible, unfortunately, for you guys to play DC Everest today.
Yeah, Wisconsin baseball doesn't always cooperate.
Right.
No, it doesn't always cooperate, the Wisconsin weather. But I guess, Coach Buss, I want to ask you first off, why did you want to be the new head coach of the Wolves? I want to kind of start there with asking you that.
I guess, these kids I had when they were freshmen, and I had talked about it back then, good group of kids. I thought that it would be important for the new high school to have a strong-headed coach. And when the opportunity arose last year, and at East there's such great coaches, so there's not a lot of room to advance, and I thought this would be my one chance to be a head coach in Sun Prairie.
Yeah, because, you got Jack Marchese over there at East, and obviously he's probably going to be the head man over there.
Yep.
And, I guess he needs assistance, but this gives you an opportunity to be the head coach. And,
Yep, to run my own show.
And, well, you're actually the second coach in 2 years over at West, because last year was Coach Quentin Travis over at West. You're taking over for Coach Quentin. Kind of maybe what are you going to maybe do differently with the culture with Sun Prairie West baseball, and maybe kind of where are you going to kind of look at from things that Coach Quentin did in year one to now you taking over here in year two?
I come from an approach that's highly disciplined. All 9 players working together, the guys on the bench being part of that, creating the energy where there's timing involved, that everybody should move on every pitch. I'm not sure how it went last year because I didn't really pay attention, but from where I came from, Coach Hamilton, Coach Marchese, that's the way you've done things and that's the way you've won. So I wanted to just bring that culture over to West. And it's a slow but surely getting stronger day by day.
Yeah.
And having that, most of us, or all of us, have played at some sort of level at East High School. And throughout the levels, they all had that same thing, like he was saying. And to have 1 year without that, and then now having Coach Buss here, it's glad to have that back, because that's what we're used to, being brought up here with like Little League and stuff. So it's great to have that back.
Yeah, I agree. I would just say, just coming, like my freshman year, I was able to be on the varsity team over when it was just one school. And so I played under Coach Hamilton, and I was with like Davis Hamilton and Addison. And the year before that, my brother was in high school. He won the state championship with that team. So like, I just knew the first couple weeks in the spring that it was like, it's a culture, and like you have to be, all 9 have to be bought in.
I've actually had Rob Hamilton and Davis Hamilton on the radio component of Marc Madness Sports, so I've gotten to talk to them before on radio. And remember Davis, one day I had him on radio, and he was talking about playing here with our Madison Mallards over here and playing over there. So he's kind of talking to me about that and kind of what he was getting ready for. And Liam Moreno, too, the Sun Prairie person. Also, he was talking about him being on the Mallards team over there. But, anyway, I guess I kind of want to ask you guys about maybe expectations you have for the 2024 season, or what's kind of the outlook for the Wolves baseball team in 2024?
Well, we'll see as the season goes. I really believe this team is going to compete. We're going to compete at the highest level. We're going to compete against the best teams. I think games will be close. We have really good pitching. And, it's baseball. So you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But how we go about it, I think, in the end, we're going to be more positive, right? We're going to be positive this year. We're going to do our best to get as many wins as we can during the regular season and then be hot when it's time for the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, going off of that, what Casey's dad always says, one of our assistant coaches this year and a huge help last year, it's the little things, like the little things, especially in tight games, it's the little things that make the difference between winning and losing.
Yeah, I agree with that also, and just like not taking our foot off the gas pedal in any games. Like every game's going to matter this year with our sectional, especially. Like we want to be the highest seed. Obviously, we want to avoid having to play the best teams until later on in the tournament goes.
So you guys got 26 games. I looked up in your schedule. Kind of where do you guys maybe hope to finish within the Big 8 Conference? Because I know there's a lot of good teams in the Big 8 Conference. You got Janesville Craig, you got Sun Prairie East, Verona.
Verona, yes. I honestly think if we finish in the top 3, we'll have a very successful season, right? Because like you said, it is loaded. There is Sun Prairie East, there is Verona, there is Craig, but there's also Sun Prairie West. And we hope to put our stamp on it and try to, if we, like I said, if we compete and come in the top 3 in the conference, I think that'll be very positive for us.
Yeah, Ben, I guess if you want to share too, kind of.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, being top 3 would obviously give us a good, it would give us a deeper run into the playoffs, playing an easier team first round and second round too. Yeah, I hope we finish top 3. And I mean, I know Coach Bust always says he wants to get 20 wins on with a varsity team, and I hope we can make that happen this year.
Casey, yeah, if you want to share too, kind of
I guess I would say I want to be number 1. I think we can do it too. And winning the conference is Coach Bust's first year, and our second year as a program would be pretty cool. So obviously that's the goal. Yeah.
You guys have a talented roster.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, I mean, Ben, you and Casey, you, I know obviously are both very talented, very good players, and you guys got Brady Rhodes, Reese Perry's a good player, Bennett Peterson, Jacob Holland.
Yep.
And young kids.
Yeah.
Evan Voss. Like Evan Voss puts bat on ball, and he's just a sophomore. I brought up 4 sophomores this year. Evan Voss has proven to me that he can put the bat on the ball, and it's been impressive. It's been impressive for a young guy making that step up, and he works hard and he tries to do the right thing all the time, and that's important.
And then Tyler Haney, who plays basketball with you, Casey.
Yep.
He's on the roster.
Easton Davenport, Gavin Lynch.
Yep. Easton
they're going to be part. They're going to be part of this.
Gavin
Seth
Lynch.
Austin, very important part of our piece. Seth Austin is like he can play anywhere. He can play catcher. He can pitch. He can play first. He can play third. Right? I mean, that's value. There's value in that, being able to play multiple positions.
And then Cole and Caden Updike.
Yep, Cole and Caden Updike.
A couple other players on this roster as well. So you guys got a deep team. You guys have a lot of players that can do a lot of different things.
Like Coach was saying, a lot of younger guys too, so other teams haven't seen these guys before, and that gives us a little advantage that they haven't seen these guys before, but we know that they're good to play at the varsity level.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. I was just kind of looking at your schedule. You guys got a lot of good games and get to play a lot of good teams on this schedule. I mean, I'm just looking. Saturday, April 13th, obviously against Sun Prairie East.
Yeah.
Obviously a quality opponent there. They're the number 19 in the state coming into the year.
Next 2 Saturdays are Sun Prairie East.
So Sun Prairie East, you get them back-to-back Saturdays there. So obviously you know what to expect there with the Jack Marchese taught team, and then the players that they got over there. I mean, you got Max Glusick over at short. You obviously got Drew Kavanaugh, who's first base and can pitch. Some talented kids there.
Yeah. No, they're very talented.
So yeah, you got them on the schedule, and then Janesville Craig, number 1 team in the state throughout much of last year.
Yep.
So I mean, you have to take them seriously. I mean,
Every
even
year.
regardless of what they've lost in their senior class,
you have to take them seriously. They play the right way, and they do small ball, so you have to be prepared on all facets of the game.
So yeah, Craig. I mean, I circled that one. I was like, both meetings against Craig. You guys definitely want to look at that. Middleton, can't take them for granted too.
And they're right at the end. Winona Grove, Middleton, those are 3 big games at the end of our season that'll really show us where we're at.
Yeah, both of those teams have a lot of young guys too. Like I remember playing Middleton last year and walking onto the field, their senior banners just like lined the whole fence. I think that like all their starters were seniors, and same with Winona Grove too, but that's not something to look over because they have a lot of young guys too, like Cal Moreau, and he's a great player, and then their catcher too. They got a lot of good guys, a lot of young guys.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Casey?
I would just second that. Yeah, you can't take any team lightly, especially in the Big 8. That's about it. Yeah.
And Verona's going to be a good team this year, too.
Yeah.
Always.
You
Yeah,
definitely
arms.
can't overlook Verona.
No.
They
And
got some talent.
Some good
Oconomowoc,
arms. And,
right? Oconomowoc, we played
Yeah.
Tuesday. There you got
Yep.
two D1 pitchers on that team,
Yeah.
right? It's going to be a game. Like, we're going to have to play well to succeed.
Madison Memorial, I mean, you guys got them,
Yeah.
I think, on Monday, right?
Monday.
Yeah,
on Thursday.
Monday.
Will that be your first game?
Yeah.
On Madison Memorial?
Yep, probably. Yep, if
Probably.
everything,
if everything works out,
Yeah,
right, with Mother
everything.
Nature.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Oconomowoc would be your game 2. Then.
Game
And
2 at the
Yeah.
Dachshund Stadium.
Yep,
7
Dachshund Stadium.
o'clock start, later
A
start.
7 o'clock start, so that's a later start
Yeah,
game
later
as well.
start for us.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the schedule. A lot of games that are,
High quality.
High quality.
Right? You got
You
to
got a lot
play.
of really
You
good
got to play
opponents.
high quality teams in order to get better. It doesn't really do you good to really beat down teams. It's better to play against teams that are going to challenge you.
and you'll definitely get that this year in
Oh,
the
yes.
conference. I can guarantee that.
That was my first job as a coach. Is I got our schedule together, right? Adding like Milton and Monona Grove and all these quality teams that will help us in the long run.
Yeah, I guess kind of actually I want to share a little bit, Coach Buss, with you about the Verona roster. Maybe talk about some kids over there that you're looking at when you face Verona that you're like, okay, well, I got a game plan for a couple kids from over there.
I don't. I've seen their roster. I talked to the boys. The boys play with some of their players over there. You're right. We know which guys can throw 90 and which guys can hit. And that'll be, as we get closer, we'll start game planning for them. It's kind of far out, right? Someone could get hurt. Things could change. The starters now could be different in that game because it's early, right? Everybody's trying to find out who are their best 9, who are they going to have on the field, and what they do the first couple games may look different by the time they play us.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, that's a team that is going to be better in the conference than what they were last year.
Yes.
And,
Yep.
I mean, well, they were good this last year, too. I mean, they
They're
made it
very
to
good.
state sectionals. And,
Yeah.
well, they played Middleton, right? And then they came up
2 out of
short.
6,
So, Middleton had a really good year last year. They made it all the way to state. That was probably a surprise. I
Yeah.
don't
Good
think,
coach, though. He's a good
Yeah.
coach. He plays the game the right way. And
But anyway, Casey, I guess I want to ask you. You were named honorable mention all conference last year in the Big 8. Congratulations
Yeah.
to you regarding
Thank
that.
you.
First off, you had a really good season last year. I have some stats. You have 354 batting average, 28 hits. I don't know if you knew you had that. 21 singles, 3 doubles, 4 triples, 21 RBIs, 10 stolen bases. So you had a good offensive year. Maybe what do you want to work upon or grow from year 1 that you had with the Wolves to now year 2?
Yeah, I would just say in the start of the year I was in a little bit of a slump. Like I think if I can remember right, like the second half of the year I was hitting like 475 through the second half. I just had a phase where I couldn't get a hit, and obviously so just eliminating like the slumps, making them as small as possible, and just doing whatever the team needs, like whether it's just moving the runner over or anything that we need to do, getting the runner in.
Maybe how do you feel like you did in year 1, and what maybe do you remember most from year 1 of West Wolves baseball?
Yeah, I thought we had a great year. Obviously, my favorite moment of the season was beating East in the playoffs. That was my favorite game probably in my life. But I liked our season. You could definitely tell how we came together towards the end of the year. Wouldn't you say, Ben?
Yeah, for sure.
Like in the start of the year, was not a lot of guys knew many people, and the bond came together, and
Yeah.
we made a nice playoff run.
It was a weird mix of people from the freshmen
Yeah.
coming in that have obviously never played at East or when we were one high school, and then the seniors that have, and the sophomores and the juniors that have. So it was all of us meeting each other for the first time. It was a little difficult at first, but obviously towards the end of the season, we had, after beating East too, it definitely brought us together more,
Yeah.
and we all celebrated it.
And Ben, I guess I'll kind of ask you about your season. Kind of how do you feel like you did in year 1
Yeah,
for the Wolves? And
I feel like I did pretty well pitching, and that'll definitely improve this year. I had like a 2.1 ERA, and I'm excited to even improve on that this year. Hitting wasn't so well last year. It was more of a mental side for me rather than a physical side, which is a lot of baseball. And I've worked on that in the off season, hitting off machines and off of guys live, and I'm excited to come back and hit this year.
yeah, because Ben, I'm looking at stats I have for you here. Batting, 149
Yeah.
batting average. You had 7 hits on the season, 5 singles, 1 double, 1 triple, I believe I have for stats that you had last year. And then 7 RBIs, 3 stolen bases. And then pitching, yeah, you had a great year on the mound. 37 innings you pitched, 1.892 earned run average.
Better than you thought.
Yeah.
23 strikeouts, too, on the mound. And Casey, I think you had 24 strikeouts on the mound? Yeah, 24 strikeouts, Casey, you had pitching. And then you had a .955 ERA, which is really good. Under 1 ERA.
Yeah.
So you really did well in your time on the mound. 4 saves, too, Casey.
Yeah.
So congrats to you on that.
Thank you.
You were a good closer for sure
Yeah.
for the West Wolves. And then 3 wins to 0 losses. And Ben, you had a good record, too. You were 4-1 on
4-1, yeah.
4-1 on the mound. So very, very good. Congratulations
thank
to
you.
you on that. So, yeah, I think both of you guys are obviously going to be key parts to the pitching staff. Who else maybe is going to be key? Maybe Coach Buss, maybe you can touch on some other key players on the pitching staff. Obviously, Brady Rhodes.
Yep, Brady Rhodes, Austin Adamowski, right? I really think Jacob Holland's going to make big strides this year. We've worked hard on correcting some of his things that he was doing wrong. Seth Austin, senior, right? Guy I told you about, he can play anywhere. He's looked good on the mound. Caden Cook, sophomore. He's got a lot of good things going for him. We just got to touch up a few things, and I think that he'll definitely eat some innings for us. And Connor Niedermeyer, right? He's a senior. He's going to play college ball. He could fill some innings for us. But we had 13 kids pitch off the mound live the last 2 days, and that's even more than I thought. So I'm pretty confident that we have a good 9 that can go out there pretty much at any time and get us outs.
That's rare to have that on a roster.
agreed.
To have 9 guys that can
Agreed.
go out there and get outs on the mound.
Right.
That doesn't happen too often.
Nope,
so
it surely doesn't.
It's a luxury for you, Coach Buss.
Yes, right
Aaron
now.
Buss. It's a luxury for you to have that. Let me see here kind of where I wanted to go. Well, yeah, I mean, I was kind of saying probably your 5 main arms for pitching are probably going to be you, Ben, and then you as well, Casey, and then Brady, Austin, and then Jacob. I would think those would be probably the 5 main guys. Coach Aaron Buss, is that probably likely going to be?
We'll see.
Or
Seth
Maybe
has looked
too?
very well. He's looked really good. His curveball's been good. You know, it's kind of a slurve, so it's on 2 different planes. It's tough to hit, and he's really smart. Like, he's a really smart pitcher. He pitched against Beloit Memorial the other day, executed a play that takes timing and it takes patience, and I have high hopes for Seth. Left-handed bat, right? And another
Yeah, that's nice
left-handed
to have
bat.
a left-handed bat, for sure. No, for sure. And Casey and Ben, I guess both of you can share this, but what are you kind of both working on from last year to this year to improve from kind of things you were able to do? And Ben, I know with hitting for you is kind of where you really want to most improve from last year.
I definitely focused a lot on the pitching because that's what I'm doing in college, and I didn't skimp on the hitting either, though. I hit off the machine and off the tee, and the tee is where it all starts. I mean, you got to be able to hit it perfectly off the tee, and then gives you a chance to hit the ball when you're hitting off the machine. And but yeah, definitely I started with the tee, and I faced any chance I got, I would face live because the tee wasn't the part that was hindering me. It was the more of the mental side and just like thinking like I can hit this ball and 2 swing. That's definitely where I've improved on.
I would just say adding strength. Last year I didn't have as much power as I would have liked, obviously, because I was just a sophomore at the time, and just putting on strength and getting stronger and learning how to swing for power, not just because, like you said, 21 singles and then 3 doubles, 4 triples. I would obviously like to have those doubles and triples go up.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm sure weight room work. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys probably both are always wanting to work on that.
Oh,
year in and
always,
year out. I guess again, going back to maybe some feelings from last year. I mean, you guys were 18-11 last year in the first season of Wolves baseball. You came across Middleton in a sectional game, and then that was a 4-3 game, really close game. You guys almost made it, to the end there of that sectional final. But kind of just what do you remember maybe from last year, and kind of maybe some of the players you had from that team, because obviously you lost 5 seniors, some really good players that you had from last year.
I mean, coming together first year school, no one, I mean, including us, knew what we would be or where we'd be able to go. And after practicing and playing a bunch together, I mean, we were able to see the talent on that team and how far it was able to take us in beating East and beating them in regionals and beating some good teams out there too. But it was definitely no one knew what to think as a first-year team, and we came in and we showed them what to think.
Yeah, we started off the year 5-0. We beat Waukesha South and Oconomowoc. We beat them back-to-back days, and then as we got down to the playoffs, we had a great run, and I honestly think we should have won that game. We lost in the sectional semifinal, and we would have been a game away from state in our first year.
Yeah, and I was in the broadcast booth for that game that you guys had against Middleton, and kind of my memories, well, obviously Jackson Hunley pitched really well after the first inning. That's kind of one thing I remembered. Yeah. I remember Jackson kind of had a rough first inning. He gave up 3 runs, and you guys just fell behind early there. You guys did really well at the end. You guys made a game of it at the end, and you started to come back, and Ben Olson had a really good day at the plate. I thought he was your kind of your key hitter in that game, Ben Olson. Well, he's no longer graduated senior now, but one of those guys you lost. And maybe talk a little bit about some of those guys you lost, because Jaden Jung, obviously a really talented hitter, a kid with a tremendous amount of power, could hit a long way when he got into one. And then obviously Jackson Hunley, Peyton Schumann, who I've had on my program, 2 really talented baseball players you guys lost last year. And then Benjamin Olson and Julian Torres-Oteros. I mean, you lost 5 guys there that were really key pieces to your team from last year. But what will you remember playing with those 5 guys? What will you remember about the experience playing with
those 5 were basically, and Casey too, were like the top of our lineup. Like obviously it was either Casey or Jackson hitting first. Jackson, he was, that guy that could go in there and he could get on base. A guy to get on base right away. Obviously, he's really fast. He was kind of like how Coach was referring to Seth. He's that guy that can play anywhere. He'd play third. He'd play the outfield. He'd pitch. Basically, wherever you need him in the field. But then going down the list, there's Jaden Jung. Our power hitter right there, number 4. He had 3 home runs on the season. And he's doing well in college, too. And then also Peyton, too. He was our big center fielder. He had a good arm. He was fast too, and he could also hit for power. And there were some things he was working on with his swing. And from talking to him, I know he's gotten a ton better with that, and he's improved a lot.
Yeah, I would go along that too. All 5 of them are really good leaders. They all stepped up where it was needed. Ben Olson played left field, and Julian was a great catcher, obviously defensively. And his dad, he helped coach us last year. He was great. So the 2 of them, they were great together. And Julian was the catcher. He was the varsity catcher when it was just one school as well, too. So he definitely had the skill. And Jackson and Jaden obviously were great leaders, and they were our 2 guys last year.
And maybe I want to get back to Peyton Schumann a little bit. Just kind of an interesting story with him. As a junior, he was cut. He was cut from the varsity roster. He was a junior varsity player as a junior. So to go from that and then to being a starter as a senior and then playing a really good pivotal role and playing really well against East.
Yeah, that was definitely a personal game for him. For all of us it was, but maybe more so him.
Yeah, he played great.
Yeah.
But he just really grew, that's a big step up. Going from getting cut from your varsity team as a junior to being a really key pivotal piece as a senior for the Wolves team.
When he did get cut from the varsity, he was obviously he's in the weight room. If you play a sport, you have to. And seeing him, he's a real athlete. He can, he's, what would you say, probably 6 foot, 5'11", and he can easily dunk.
Yeah,
and he can power clean up almost 300, and so he's the definition of an athlete when putting all those things together that an athlete has to have.
Yeah, I'd go right along with that, and then he stepped up in big moments. I think in the regional final game, he was 3 for 5 or 2 for 5, I want to say, but they were 2 big hits. One was to give us the lead back. I remember that, and he was just always a guy that would step up for us.
Yeah, he had 2 hits. I think it was 2 for 5 in that Sun Prairie East
one right down
game.
the first baseline.
Yeah.
I remember that one. I had to leave after that, but I saw that, and I'm like, oh.
The other one was the scorer, me, I think, to put us up by 1, and towards the end, after they made that comeback.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he got a hit in that Middleton game, too. Maybe he just had 1 hit in that game.
Yeah.
but I believe he had a hit in
Yeah.
the Middleton game as well. But Ben Olsen was kind of, he must have had the most hits on the team in that Middleton game.
Yeah.
So I think he had about 3 hits.
Yeah.
And then he had that big RBI at the end.
Yep.
And then Julian Torres Otero, I think, was your last out in that game, if I remember right. He flew out to center field.
Yeah.
And then he gave it a good try. He really
Yeah.
did. It's too bad for you guys because you guys
we were
played
right there.
You were really close. You guys almost had it there at the end. But I don't know. Maybe anything else you want to share about last year? What you learned from it? Maybe can grow upon this year.
Yeah, for me, it would just be to not, like I said earlier, not taking any game lightly. Like, every game matters. Like, we were the 8th seed last year. Like, our first game, we had to play Lacrosse Central. Nobody really talks about that because obviously the next game was bigger, but, like, that game was, 3-1? Like, it was a close game. Like, 2-0 maybe? It was a super close game.
Close.
Like, putting ourselves in a better position to succeed this coming year.
Yeah, and going off, taking no game lightly, I know Coach scheduled a lot of games, some games in the same week so that we, I believe the week we play East, we're also playing some other schools, so there's not a lot of time off, because the time off is when we play some easier teams, and he put the hard games in the middle of some easier games so that we don't lose focus, and we still bring the same effort and attitude to those easier games that we bring to the harder games.
I guess Coach Buss, I kind of want to ask you, or you guys, as Ben and Casey as well, about kind of maybe some hitting drills that you work on, maybe during practices, and then maybe also some glove work that you try to work on.
We've been open hitting since December, right? So the kids have been, tee work, hitting off the machine. We have 2 machines. One machine we set up for curveballs. But a lot of it is we've been working a lot of live. We've been taking our pitchers and facing them against live hitters. So you're getting work on both sides. The pitchers are learning how to get guys out, and hitters are learning what sequences pitchers like to use. And I think that the more live that you have, the better off you are, right? And then we can record you, and if we need to make corrections out of the cage, we can do that and work on the tee again and to get back in the cage and be ready to hit, right? Little things like that. I've been more focused on defense so far, making sure that our bunt defense is very sound, making sure that we have calls for everything, making sure that if a guy gets too far off base, he won't be there very long. Those are the things that we've been working hard on.
Yeah, and going off the hitting to the live at-bats, how he was saying it's important for the pitchers and the batters. I mean, it's you can get 2 things done at once, the pitchers get work and the hitters get work, and I think that's where the hitters definitely gain a lot, is getting that live experience, because obviously that's what happens in a game and you get used to it more.
Like Coach Buss said, the defensive side, we were down in Indiana for our spring trip, and we were just installing plays like we did against, like he said, also with Seth Austin against Beloit. We had a back pick where we got him out second, and that was exactly what we had practiced 2 days before, and just showing how much progress we made in such a short time, I guess. So that's a hard play to execute.
Well, I think live hitting too, it allows you guys to see more curveballs or more
Yeah.
sliders or more changeups. Because if you're otherwise hitting, just from a jugs machine all the time, well, you're mostly going to see fastballs. You're mostly going to see straight pitches.
Yeah.
So with the live at bats, you're going to see more movement pitches.
And that's the idea, right? Adjust to the change. Understand when a guy throws hard and he has a good changeup, you have to sit back. You have to let the ball travel a little bit. Little things like that.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, exactly. So no, thank you for sharing. Kind of wanted to ask about maybe the benefit or kind of what maybe you get out of practicing indoors comparing to practicing outdoors, because obviously in Wisconsin, unfortunately the reality is you're going to have to practice a fair amount inside.
Yes. Well, and that's why we went down south, to make sure we had our outside time to put in the major things that we can only do outside. But inside, we can do bunt defense. We can have bunts and throw to the bases. We can execute plays inside, or at least set them up, so when we get out on the real field, the timing is already there, because a lot of these things are on timing. And again, throwing in the cage, having pitchers throw live at bats in the cage, you get that indoors, right? And we have 2 cages and 2 mounds, so we can really use the time wisely when we're in there.
Yeah, and being indoors too, you get a lot of machine work, because outside we currently don't have a machine outside. So it's more of like soft toss or some guy pitching to us. But maybe one benefit of being inside is a lot of machine work and a lot of hitting too, because there's not many other things like the outfielders. You can't really take fly balls inside. So that's what we take advantage of when we do have time outside, is getting those fly balls in. And especially in the weather now, when we are able to go outside, we do all the things. When we go outside, all the things that we do, we take advantage of the time that we have out there.
Yeah, and like obviously everyone would rather be outside, but there's nothing we can do about it. So just working as hard as we can when we are inside, even if it's a limited space and a limited time, because there's not as much you can do compared to outside, just working 100%.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. I guess anything else, either any of you want to share about 2024 Sun Prairie West Wolves baseball, maybe things people should know about the team more, ways to support the team?
You can go on our Facebook page. I know this year we are going to have Game Changer, and it will have video on it. So if people want to watch it, I know you guys show up to games, so it'll be on TV sometimes. Just come out and watch. If you need to get the schedule, you can go on Sun Prairie Area School District, look under West Wolves Baseball, get our schedule, and come out for a game.
I guess I'll end with fun question segment. That's usually how I like to end it here with you guys. I guess, did all of you fill out a March Madness bracket? I'll start there. College basketball bracket.
I did not. This year I was pressed for time.
You were pressed for time, Coach Aaron?
Yeah, I did.
Ben, Casey,
Yeah,
did you guys fill one
I
out?
did. Yep, I did. I had Houston winning it all, so that looked good, but didn't finish well.
I got UConn winning it all, so.
You at least got that.
Yeah.
You got a shot at that. I filled out 7 brackets. I had UConn winning 1, but unfortunately, I had 2 money brackets. I had Houston for both of those.
Yeah.
So that didn't do. Things haven't gone so well with my brackets.
Yeah.
Favorite athlete in any sport? Maybe we'll finish with this, actually. Favorite athlete in any sport? I'll let you, Coach Buss, go first, and then maybe Ben and Casey can follow.
Well, I'll be honest. Like, when I was young, it was Robin Yount. Like, I always wanted to be 19. It was so impressive. He played shortstop, won an MVP, went to the center field, won an MVP, was a Wisconsin, came up at the age of 18 or 19. And I just remember always just really being thrilled to see him play. Like, he was 100% all the time. You could tell he worked on his craft. And for me as a young player, I thought that was something to look forward or try to accomplish the same things that he did.
I like that answer. Robin Yount's a good one. Ben, how about you?
A little different opinion here, but I'm a Cubs fan. So, but growing up, always watching the Cubs. Anthony Rizzo, especially on that 2016 team, great player, lefty with a little weird stance, and he's always the guy that that nobody hates. Like, everybody likes him. He's nice, and he never gets caught in crossfire. And now playing for the Yankees, he's still a pretty good player, and he's always that guy. He's a great leader and super nice guy. From other players talking about him, and he's that guy that no one hates.
How about you, Casey?
My overall favorite player is Justin Fields, but the guy I try to learn the most from is 2 guys are Freddie Freeman and Corey Seager. Like, they're both lefties, and I like Corey Seager. Like, that's obvious. Like, that's who I want to be. Is just like him. Yep.
Funny enough, I was texting Jackson the other day, and I said, you remind me a lot of Corey Seager, to be honest. Just your game. I was kind of looking at some of your at-bats, some of your approach. And I see some similarities definitely between your stance, you guys are both left-handed hitters. Some similarities between you and Corey Seager.
That's great role model.
For me, favorite athlete, I guess I'll share mine. I think Christian Yelich. I really like Christian Yelich.
Yeah, I do too.
I think Christian Yelich should be maybe mine, or Jordy Nelson. That's another one for me. That's definitely a favorite, being a Packer Brewer fan. So.
Yeah, I'm a Bear fan.
I think all of us are. We're all Bears fans.
Actually, maybe favorite pregame food. I actually want to get that. This will be very last thing. Favorite pregame food to eat.
If it's baseball, it's a hot dog. It's a hot dog with sauerkraut and ketchup, and it just makes me feel better. Like, that's what you want at the ballpark.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But I got to go with the sub. For away games, we get subs. But for home games, I usually have a sub too. At West, there's a bunch of restaurants all around, or like Barachos or Chipotle too. Something with like a bunch of meat in it, like ham and turkey and chicken, and film it before the game.
Mine's for sure Snickers candy bar. I have one for every game.
Little
My mom
buzz.
always gives it to me. Yep.
That's a
for
good
sure my
answer. So
favorite.
I think I like the hot dog answer or popcorn. I think popcorn or hot dog.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm between those two. Well, I think that covers everything for Marc Madness Sports today on this Friday afternoon. Well, thank you so much, Coach Aaron Buss. I'm really great
thanks
to
for
meet
having
you.
us.
Yeah,
New
thanks
coach
for having
over
us.
at Sun Prairie West Baseball, and Ben Ketelson. Very, very happy to have you on, and Casey
Thank you.
Wambach.
Thank you.
Thank you guys all for coming on, talking some 2024 Sun Prairie West Wolves baseball. Good luck to you guys this season.
Thank you.
It's going to be a great schedule. I think you guys are going to
Yeah.
have.
Yep.
I think you guys will have a successful season. And
Yeah, I sure hope
wish you
so.
guys luck.
We're all
so
excited.
I'm the host, Mark Carstens of Marc Madness Sports this Friday afternoon. Have a great rest of your Friday, everybody, and grab any of their favorite pregame foods there before the next Sun Prairie West home game. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.